Appreciating all of you. That is Vision Quest. If you've never seen it, it may not be one of Academy Award winning movie, but it is deeply profound about a vision, a journey, the things that happen in the way. And that gentleman's name is Elmo, who was a kitchen worker that worked with Loudon, who would do hotel room service. And Elmo speaking into why he was going that night to see Loudon, who had gone through the most extreme sacrifices of weight loss, of working out, of training, of doing the impossible with friction from everybody in his life, his father, his coach, Elmo himself, friends, teammates, everyone. And in the end, if you ever watched the movie, this incredible moment of unifying dynamic, because when we step into our greatness courageously in their face of friction, and it requires sacrifice and energy and movement forward, it does exactly what Elmo said that Pele does. The reason we love sports is because in a condensed, organized fashion and music, we could see something incredible happen in a moment. And as we live our life standing for what we perceive to be our vision quest, our vision, our why, our destiny, and we see people authentically racing urgently with great sacrifice towards it, it's why people cry when they hear people give or see moments like Pele kicking a ball upside down and backwards, or a fictional character like Loudon winning, or somebody, the 1980 US Olympic team piling onto the podium together. Because we are present to energetically the space of sacrifice to create and to achieve. And what goes into, we intuitively know and understand what's present, what's at stake, what to model, what to be inspired by, how to create it. And as Fernando was opening up today, outstandingly, critical drivers are what get us there. It's the heart, the math, the binding into something. Pele didn't become Pele because he was born that way. He worked tirelessly. Now, he was certainly given God-given skills, I have no doubt, but he relentlessly, tirelessly, completely, emphatically worked and time blocked. Loudon, to get their wrestler, losing weight, watching every single thing he ate, working out like a lunatic, doing push-ups, waiting for elevators, running, behind cars in his friend's motorcycle instead of taking the ride. All of those things are what it looks like. And for fun, in the movie, Loudon had to overcome his teammates saying he was being selfish, even trying to make this move and make this decision. Fun footnote, and we will show this scene at a different time coming up. There's a moment where the power of the real Raw and its hierarchical primacy is demonstrated in the movie Vision Quest, where there's tremendous resistance amongst the team and leadership about what Loudon's doing, and how Loudon steps into something that nobody else could do and does it in his completely weakened state from not eating and everything else is happening. And hierarchical primacy becomes present, leadership is caused, alignment is created, acceleration forward continues. And it's this learning and the extent to which you're like, my God, this is a lot. Like, that's your sacrifices of investing your time on the huddles, your time in speaking, your time in rising your sales meetings, your time in your learning and watching the modules, your time on Tuesday and Thursday night calls. It's rising. I've watched Joe Coburn and Tiffany Noel Brown. I've watched them step into a completely different space of their influence mastery and their fun energy being unleashed on camera in the real Raw. Are they 9.999s yet? No. Will they be? Yes, if they continue the same path and trajectory. And by the way, if they do or don't, will that have an impact on their money, time, and magic? Absolutely. Magic, including contribution, impact, cause. And what they're doing is wildly impressive to see it. In fact, somebody on the Real Raw that TNB was on said right after TNB spoke, and was like unleashing her fun energy. And of course, she's still there in her Zeus and her goddess and her aspirational dynamic, which would be beautiful to see rise TNB even more, the aspirational elements of where you can cause leadership and take people. And the person said right after TNB was done, it's like, wow, this is such a fun group. And I could think back to how not fun some of the first real Raws that TNB was doing felt. How beautiful that was to experience. And when TNB does that, she's functioning like Pele, like Loudon, because she brought me close to tears. To see another human being confronting herself relentlessly, tirelessly, consistently, adapting, overcoming, accelerating, rising in mastery, to be acknowledged by a stranger for something that wasn't present before but now is. And who've caused that stranger to feel warmth, feel at home, and want to be there. So it's a beautiful and awesome thing. So TNB, thank you for that inspiration, and I acknowledge you. And so when you watch this morning's video, please don't see that as a reflection on something you're not. Always see yourself in everything as every character, because we're all the characters. We're Elmo, being inspired by others. I inspire and I am inspired. You inspire and you are inspired. We're Loudon. He's not perfect because at some point in the movie, he wanted to give up and quit on the entire dream. He fell in love. He saw like he had massive self-mastery, confusion come into place and had to process all of his feelings and all of what was happening. And he almost gave up on everything. And he needed outside help and support to get himself back into self-mastery. There's accountability present. We're all his coach saying, what are you doing? Like this? No, we're the teammates. We're in fear that somebody's doing something that's going to cause harm. Our intentions, not all of ours, but usually are good and strong and positive. And sometimes it gets really confusing. And there's like conflicting interests of what should be happening. His best friend, Cooch, who wrestled off in the movie. Some of us are Cooch. Loudon wrestled him off, meaning he went for his spot because he wanted to lose weight to be in this epic battle with the unbeatable wrestler he was going to wrestle, named Shoot. And so Loudon wrestles off and beats his friend Cooch, who's destroyed and devastated by it because so much was at stake for Cooch and he loses his spot. So it's like all of these things were all of these people and places. So Fernando, what is present for you as we share all of this?
A lot runs through my mind, and certainly, just kind of as I'm in my head and mostly in my heart about it, it is, the power of sacrifice, the power of consistency, of commitment, zone action being freedom. Like we throw around the zone action thing almost like you should have pride in being in zone action. But if anything, it's more humbling. It's a humbling thing to be in zone action because sometimes, actually most of the time, I'll say, and I'll speak for Fernando in a moment, is that zone action most of the time is not what like instinctively I want to do. And it takes something to like, okay, so, all right, my position on the team is this. I really want to do this though, but this is what's going to help the team and it's what's needed. It's what I'm measured on and I have to deliver. I'm sure I'm going to forget all the characters in the name, but I'm sure he didn't want to do all those exercises. He didn't want to beat his friend. There was a lot of, challenges of significance and ego throughout that whole thing. But at the end of the day, and obviously this is a movie, but I would say it's the hero's journey in life. It shows that, subjugating your ego, committing to your own zone action, whether it's what you want to do versus what's needed to be done, equals inspiration and the ability to inspire yourself, the ability to inspire others. And I'm loving what you're doing with videos and lessons. Even though I've never watched the movie, have no idea what the movie is, and chances are I won't see it, certainly I can pull away that lesson that you're anchoring on today. And I'll kick it back to you.
Yeah, thanks, brother. And what did you take away from that moment, Fernando? Like in that moment when Elmo, that was the gentleman who was saying about Pele and sitting there crying because somebody lifted us up just for a moment, Pele in that moment to a higher place and saying aloud, and that's why I'm going tonight. I took off work tonight to see what happens in those 6 minutes in this epic battle that you've sacrificed so much. And I'm sitting here as maybe a human being who hasn't sacrificed as much and had been living my life in a place of safety. And I'm looking for that part of me to awaken and to accelerate forward. And even if I'm not, I'm just there because my heart is going to be lifted about what some humans are doing with their time and their energy, and be lifted. And that's why I'm going tonight. I don't know what's going to happen exactly, but I know something massive is at stake, and I want to be there to experience it and feel it. What was present for you in that moment?
It's present for me. And even as I hear it again, like I'm shot with fear through my nervous system as I think about lessons I've learned and lessons that this is bringing top of mind. One quick one was a gentleman who worked at an elderly home, and he had seen over 100 people pass away, because of age. And the simple is a much more beautiful story. I'm not giving it justice. I'm being very concise. The takeaways from the story were that most people on their deathbed, what they would be thinking about were the regrets of what they didn't do. Yeah. That would be some of their final thoughts. And as I listened to that video, and like my hands are cold, I can feel fear in my nervous system, is like the sadness of what that must feel like to reach that moment and to have that realization, maybe when it's too late, maybe not, but to have that realization that you didn't step into your greatness, that you didn't ask for the ball, not because you were incapable, incompetent, stupid, or suboptimal, simply because you were too scared to try. That's scary. That's a lot of fear to reach that level. And that's what I'm taking away, from what you just shared. And now I'm looking at a beautiful beach.
Yeah. And as we do, I just want to become present to a couple of dynamics. So number one, I read about this place in about 1993 in a travel guide. And I dreamt of someday coming here. And I wrote down, and stay with me on this entire point. And I wrote down what it would take to get here, more around the 1997 time when I began my personal development journey. Now, here's the odd part. I never expected to go here on one day's notice, and I didn't want to be coming here now. COVID is exploding out there in the world. My kids are not pleased with my travel schedule. They weren't pleased with me going to Chris Crone's event. They were not pleased with me being down in Tony's studio. And they were not pleased with me coming to Necker Island. And I like pleasing my kids. And I understood, and what was present was, what if something goes wrong and you can't get home for Christmas? And that's fully present. I haven't seen Tyler, who is my best friend in the world. And I haven't seen Tyler in a couple months. He didn't even come home for Thanksgiving in light of COVID dynamics and his desire to keep his grandfather safe. So his approach is a little bit different than mine. And so I haven't seen him. And like, what happens if I don't make it home for Christmas and with him and my daughters? It would be deeply, deeply, deeply painful and meaningful. Now, on the flip side, and in addition, like, what do I want to do every day in Necker Island? Fran, what do you think I want to do? Like, what would be my desire to do here? Knowing me, what would I like to do?
You would like to surf. You would like to snorkel or scuba dive. You would like to find something ridiculous, like jumping into a volcano safely in like a heated suit, because your adventure bone is triggered that way.
Yeah. And haven't scuba dove, haven't snorkeled, which, like, my rule of coming to the Caribbean is like, it begins with mask, snorkel, fins, and away you go. And that just hasn't fit the criteria. So this is not the vision of being here that I would have wanted. At the same time, it's absolutely magical and spectacular, and I couldn't be more grateful. Because just to be able to work with this backdrop and background is an unbelievable gift and a blessing beyond. And so as we think about everything every day in our life, there's so many different elements and perspectives to it all. And what I am offering to each of you is to free yourself of the friction, of the complexity and overwhelm of all the different perspectives, and to really anchor and focus on what your mission is. Like, do you have a mission? And you're like, well, I don't know exactly what I want to do. I don't know exactly what I want to do either. When this started, I thought I would be like selling influence programs from stages around the world. And I'd be kind of what Keith Cunningham is to finance, maybe on Tony's stage, I would be the influence. And now we're talking about being the Amazon of business. Do everything the same way Amazon could deliver anything to your house. So I don't know what this is going to look like in the end, but I want to have the biggest impact possible, partnering with the most incredible people that want to have positive impact on the world. What is your mission? And many of you are part of that mission. It doesn't have to be your mission, right? But what does it look like? And when do we have the opportunity to make sacrifices, and how do we make decisions about them? And it sounds pretty ironic saying that coming to Necker Island is a sacrifice, right? But they're all choices between things. They're all choices between things, and keeping the schedule is a sacrifice, right? So what are the sacrifices you're going to make for your mission and be guided by it? And who are you and who are you not going to allow to take space in how you think and feel about the mission? You know, that movie, you know, with Loudon, he was alone. He didn't have anybody who believed what he was doing made sense, including his own father. Can you carry that forward if you know with intention that the outcome serves the greater good? And that's really the message for today. Can you be that cause? Yes, Adam.
So I wanted to tell you what I was present to as I watched and heard Fernando share. I was watching and hearing Fernando be humble once again, talking about zone action and the moments that he had to step into his own fear and his challenges around making those strategy sessions and making those calls, knowing it was what's best for the team. And it took me right back to Monday night and hearing him have to step in for you and hearing him work magic and just rise to a level of mastery that even surprised me. And I knew how amazing and how, the levels that he had been at. And I felt like I was watching Pele, and he brought me to tears multiple times on that call. And it was because of the deep practice, the sacrifice that he had made over and over and over with the months leading up to that moment that he had a chance to step up on stage to fill in for you. And he absolutely nailed it.
And he never could have done it, everybody, if all he did was be on videos, run group trainings, run real raws. He never would have become that without spending hundreds and hundreds of sessions in doing strategy calls and alignment calls and doing the work that wouldn't have been his preference. So Fernando, I couldn't agree more, brother. Incredible job.
Thank you, team.
Anil, you over there, brother? Anthony, Anil? No, okay, we lost Anthony and Anil, so I was going to bring them in. But I want to, again, thank and acknowledge Anil Gupta. Anil, you're there. There he is. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm in my pajamas.
That is amazing. Anil and I, yes, are present. I don't know. I want to thank Anil. And everybody in this Unblinded movement should be thanking Anil because of the sacrifices he made to make this happen. And he's incredibly humble, falsely modest, which is actually a sin, Anil. But he is the connections, people, what he has created here has been remarkable. So Anil, thank you, brother. And what is present for you on this Necker Island morning? And please receive my gratitude on my own behalf, on behalf of Unblinded and the entire ecosystem and movement.
So, Sean, this was not a sacrifice. It was a privilege, absolute privilege to have Sean here. And, I'll tell you who I am. I'm amazing. I can change your relationship in minutes. If you're not an 8 out of 10 with your wife or partner or your child, come and speak to me. You would be insane not to speak to me. So what I'm present to is this. No matter what happens in life, it's who you've become. How do you show up? Are you filled with love? Show up with love and joy, and don't let other people take your joy away. You're bigger than this. You can handle this. You've got this. That's what I'm present to.
Amazing, Anil. And I just want to share with you the love that the people on this island have for Anil. And his presence and the fun and the wisdom and the respect they have for this man is just palpable. He is a leader of leaders here. It's an honor, sir, to have been have my HUI conveyed here because Anil lifted his finger and shared it, and I'm immensely grateful, Anil. And I take that with great gratitude and responsibility to keep moving everything forward. So thank you, brother.
And my friend, the truth is the truth. There's no embellishment. It is what it is. As simple as that.
Thank you. Love you. And by the way, Anil doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to kidnap him and make him swim out the island with palm trees out there. Is that what? See that out there?
You're standing on it.
And so we're going to kidnap. We're going to claim it in the name of Unblinded and the Tony Robbins Platinum Partnership Alliance. That's happening later. So
you know what we should do?
Yes.
We should plant a flag.
Yes.
On the island.
On the island. If we plant a flag, will you swim with me? Well, I will put a life jacket on you and I will bring you.
You'll have to drag me. Yes, I'll swim behind you.
All right. Thank you so much. Love you, Anil. Amazing.
Once again, we have Sean Callaghy going from hello to yes to put someone in threatening water conditions. So amazing job, Mr. Callaghy.
Yes, thank you. So listen, everybody. I couldn't be more grateful. Zone action, love, but it's mission driven. Like, what's that mission that you're causing? And it's not like, what's the name of your speaking platform? That's not your mission. What is that mission? Is it to cause acceleration, to be an example of hope and possibility, to demonstrate to people how they can assemble tools that could change their decision making and their time freedom, all of the things they want to cause in the world, to realize that there is a formula of 18 levers to create acceleration, to realize that the real raw and its power is mind-numbing. And by the way, thank you, Gerald Barnes, for being just an absolute warrior. We had an incredible person, former player for the Indianapolis Colts in the NFL, who had a phenomenal beginning to his career, played about 4 years, was then injured. He did such a great job on the Real Raw yesterday. And he's like, I love it. I want to be back. I want in and be a part of this. Articulate, powerful, a person who just is in ministry and stands for beautiful things in the world. So Gerald, that doesn't happen. I mean, you caused it straight up. So thank you for that. And today's Real Raw. And again, you watching the Real Raw is not the cause of your acceleration, but if you want to pop in and see how people, when it's communicated effectively and optimally, how people want to be here. Because you're just going to see a number of people, including the leader who brought this Necker Island thing together, along with Anil, April, who's a leader of a group from EO, another incredible potential ecosystem merger, beautiful conversations occurring, coming on the Real Raw today. Just extraordinary. The poll, when our HUI, your HUI, and the HUI of Real Raw are put together, magic happens. Everybody says yes. For Adam Gugino, final, bro.
Magic is happening. And wow, Sean, this rocket ship is going and we are building it as it goes. Looking forward to you getting back here safe and sound and kicking off 2021 like nothing anyone's ever seen before.
Love you guys. And listen, let's go, Chaz, Vince, let's go A Pirate Looks at 40 by Jimmy Buffett for an exit tune of some depth and reflection about life, but maybe realizing that at any point we can make decisions about where our life goes from here to, as a good friend of mine has shared, what will we have to do that we've never done to have the things that we want in our life? Like, what would we be willing to do to create that, to sacrifice, including our ego, our dynamics, to create the acceleration that you want? Or just as simply as, would you time block? Would you be structured? Would you give it 3 months? Would you call people that you don't know and offer them the value of partnering with you and filtering it through the prism of the Real Raw? Love you guys. Have an amazing Thankful Thursday. And we're going to rock it tonight. We're going to have an amazing call tonight at 8 p.m. and see you guys.